Yeah. What? Yeah.
This is the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD for the Nintendo Switch, a high-definition remaster of the second Zelda game to grace the Nintendo Wii. Without getting into spoilers, Skyward Sword is really a prequel of sorts, taking place at the beginning of the Zelda timeline before there's any kind of continuity split at the end of Ocarina of Time. The complexities of branching timelines aside, this game is set in the land of Skyloft, a chain of islands floating in the clouds as the surface world is too damaged to support life. Or is it? After a teenage Link is celebrating his victory in a ceremonial race, the young maiden Zelda is knocked down towards the surface by a dark tornado. This forces Link to accept his destiny as the chosen hero who must fly down to the surface to rescue her. Like most Zelda game stories, it's a very interesting and detailed tale with a lot of backstory and spiritual themes and adventure. And as far as its tone, it's not as cartoony and lighthearted as Wind Waker, nor is it as dark as Majora's Mask or its sequel Twilight Princess. It maintains more of an Ocarina of Time type of middle ground, which many Zelda fans will appreciate and probably agree to liking more than the stories that push further in either direction. Being an HD remaster, naturally critics and fans alike will put the visuals under a microscope. Are they sharpened and cleaned up enough to justify being called a remaster? Some say no, but I say yes. While there are some close-up shots where you can still see that Wii blocking this, as well as textures you wouldn't get in a brand new 2021 game, the visuals do show noticeable improvements from the original. The blurriness has been cleared out, the characters look sharper, the colors look more pronounced, and the frame rate even runs smoother. Much like Wind Waker, the art style has helped the game to age more gracefully than most, even though Wind Waker HD looks less dated than this. It may have been why some fans went up in arms about this remaster and actually tried to boycott the game. Thankfully this didn't work because the visual upgrades that I see, as well as the more important element, the gameplay, Skyward Sword HD does plenty to justify being sold. Let's get into more of that justification with a look at the sound design. It's still that same grunt, scream, and cheer voice acting that you see in Zelda games pre-Breath of the Wild, and I feel like I've said my piece on this approach already. The sound effects are still good and fitting, but what stands out is the music. It stays consistent with the balanced tone the game is aiming for, and it feels rather spiritual. There's something deep and moving about the music, and that's helped by the fully orchestrated soundtrack. Now, maybe that type of music composition is more expensive and time-consuming, but it produces brilliant results, and Skyward Sword is a perfect example, making me wish that orchestration would be used more often in Zelda games. Now, Skyward Sword isn't quite as open as past games, let alone Breath of the Wild, but calling this game linear is still the wrong word to use. You're still given the freedom to explore your environments as you see fit to find everything. It's just that the worlds, especially on the surface, have more of a structure to them that guides you forward towards a certain destination. This too is good balance on the game's part, but between linear and open. The truly open world part though is Skyloft, which serves as your hub world. It's a bit like other Nintendo adventure games you may have played before, as this chain of floating islands has its own sense of character, its own small side missions, and one hell of a view. I mean, check out the Renaissance-era decorations, or this bar called the Lumpy Pumpkin that serves pumpkin soup. It's like if Wind Waker was set in the sky instead of the ocean and embraced fall more than summer. Sorry for the gushing, I meant to say that you can teleport to parts of the surface you've discovered from here. Whether you think of this like Mario jumping into a painting from Peach's castle or an open world fast travel system, it's a very welcome addition for any Zelda game. Many of the aspects of this game are a mix of familiar and new. You solve some familiar puzzles and kill familiar enemies, but there are new puzzles and enemies and other things as well. Most of the puzzles are solved by thoroughly exploring and using your various tools as you earn them. A rather unique tool being your sword, as you can now use it to pick up the aura of an important person or object you have to find, kinda like an enchanted metal detector. This all makes exploring much more interesting, and the items give you a good sense of reward when you find them. Items like this! You've also got Link's new ally Fi to help you in the same job as Navi and Midna before her. But not only is she very helpful, she's also not annoying at all. Perfect mix right here. Curiously, this game introduces two concepts that would be carried over into Breath of the Wild. the first being the stamina meter, pretty much the same as it is in Breath of the Wild, so how much you like or dislike the challenge of keeping Link's energy up is all on personal preference. I didn't find it much of a problem for having fun. The other concept is gear that can be upgraded and shields that can take damage. I have to admit that I kinda liked how Skyward Sword handled this better because gear didn't break to the point where I had to keep finding replacements, but you still have enough motivation to search for items that are used to upgrade your gear at the shop. So Skyward Sword borrows quite a bit from late 90s collectathons. Now the enemies and big bosses have great variety, which means different ways of killing them. But to really explore the combat, I have to talk about the controls. A key difference between Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess is that this game was clearly designed around motion controls. While Twilight Princess had you shield bump enemies with the nunchuck, swing your sword with the Wii Remote, and aim your bow with a pointer, it was more of an extra level of immersion in a game that didn't require it. Skyward Sword, on the other hand, challenges you to be precise with your motions. When playing with the Joy-Cons held separately, the right Joy-Con is your sword, and how you swing it matters, especially in fights. Every enemy can only be hit from a certain angle. If you swing from the wrong direction, you'll get blocked. And yes, the enemies will try to block you. While the Joy-Con's level of sensitivity that sometimes leads to inaccurate readings from the game can make this frustrating sometimes, when you get into the groove of things and accuracy is on your side, you'll see that this actually is more engaging than waiting for an enemy to drop his guard before jumping at him and hammering the A button. The motion controls go beyond this though. The pointer on the Joy-Con aims items like your bow and this very useful mechanical beetle, you balance on tight ropes with it, fly your Loftwing in the skies, even solve some puzzles with it. Wait, this isn't seriously Mario 64 eyeball rules, is it? Oh god, it is! Nintendo really did that! Does that count as a reference to another property, or laziness? Now yes, you can play this the regular way with Joy-Cons on the gamepad or just using a Pro Controller, but then the right stick becomes in charge of simulating the motion controls, so you still have to maintain that level of precision. Sometimes I preferred this because it felt a bit more accurate than the motion controls, but most of the time I played with the Joy-Cons for the immersion, plus using the right thumbstick for the camera while your sword is at the ready just feels better. When you play with a regular controller, you have to hold L in order to use the right stick like a camera. But one thing I do miss from Twilight Princess on the Wii is swinging your sword while running. Not sure why they didn't keep that in, as they easily could have, but a minor complaint in the grand scheme of things. This is a great game for fans who love Skyward Sword on the Wii, and for Zelda fans who've never played the original Wii version. Another great Switch adventure that's also a great showcase for what the Joy-Cons can do. Well, that's my review of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. If you like this review, check out my previous reviews of the Wind Waker HD for the Wii U and Twilight Princess for the Wii. See you all next time!
Game over.